Hi there, and welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life, using real food, and we keep it real simple. And today, we're gonna make a really super easy and delicious chicken enchiladas in the Ninja Foodi digital air fry oven. Now, you could do this in the regular oven, that would be fine. You would just wanna increase your temperature a little bit. And you could also do it in the Ninja Foodi, the pressure cooker and air crisper. But I like to choose the right tool for the job. And I wanted to make these enchiladas exactly like you would get them at your Mexican restaurant, where there's two together and they're served that way. I didn't want like a whole big casserole that you would do in the Ninja Foodi pressure cooker and air crisper. So I'm gonna do this in the Ninja Foodi digital oven, but in my written post, you will definitely have the instructions to do it with whatever appliance you have and want to use, okay? All right, so the first thing we need to do in order to prepare our corn tortillas to roll them for the enchiladas is we have to cook them first. Because if you try to roll a corn tortilla that is right out of the package, it is simply going to split, fall apart, and you're gonna get really frustrated. Trust me, because I've tried it. I tried it with this recipe. I tried to bathe it in a little bit of the enchilada sauce. I tried to just warm it up like some people suggested when I Googled it, and nothing worked really. So what I did was I ended up air frying them for a few minutes, and it works beautifully. So that's what we're gonna do. Now I have 12 corn tortillas. Unfortunately, you can only do 6 at a time because you don't want them to be on top of each other, but you can have them overlapping a little bit. So what I do is I just kind of put 4 of them out here. We'll get 6 on, okay? But I'll get 4 out now. We'll do a little spritz. This is just some canola oil, but you could use any oil that you like. That's fine. You can try skipping the oil as well, but I have not tested the recipe that way, so I cannot assure you that they're going to cook exactly like needed to be able to roll them for the enchiladas. So I'm just gonna give like a quick little spritz here. Flip them over. Another little spritz. All right, now let's get the other one. I'm trying to hold this far enough away because I want it to really shoot a nice spritz and not be a direct stream. So doing it that way. Let me even back up a little bit more. There we go. Now that's the first time that this EVO oil sprayer has come out like that. Usually it's a very nice mist, so it might be time for me to clean that. All right, so now the beauty of the digital air fry oven is you do not have to preheat it or anything like that, and we don't need to do that. We are using the basket, and it is gonna go on the top shelf. Sorry, I'm a little awkward here. There we go. And so we're gonna go on 425 degrees air crisp for 3 minutes only. Air fry. They call it air fry. I've got to get that straight, right? All right, so now let's set the temp, and the temp is going to be 425, and the time is 3 minutes. And we will hit the button, and we'll start. I'm going to get this cleaned up where the oil kind of leaked through the basket. Get the other ones ready to go, and then we will move those out onto our tray, put these in, finish it up, and then we'll get to rolling our enchiladas. All right, so we just did our 3-minute air crisp, and let's take a peek here. Now, one thing to know is if your corn tortillas just came out of the refrigerator, they might take a little bit longer. So what you want to look for is a little bit of browning here, okay? And I've got that on the top, and I'm actually going to flip these over, and I'm going to go a little bit longer. So please use your judgment when you're making any recipe, because things are not always exact. Now, even though I had these out for a while, they are not as dark as I want them to be. So I'm gonna go back in for 2 more minutes. So that'll be a total of 5 minutes. Now, in the test recipes, 3 minutes was enough, but for some reason today, it isn't. And so just keep that in mind whenever you're cooking anything. All right, so we are gonna go ahead and turn this back on, keep it on the air fry. The nice thing about this oven is it does remember what you set it for before. So it's gonna default back to 425 in 3 minutes. And I'm just gonna go with that. And I will check them in about 2 minutes. And then we'll find out how they are, how they're browning up. Now, they don't need to be real dark. They just need to have a little bit of browning, and I can just tell by the way that they look that they're gonna be able to roll nicely. And that's the goal here, it's just to be able to roll them. All right, so it's been a total of 5 minutes, and let's go ahead and give them a check. And this one looks really good. That one looks and feels good. That one looks good. Yep. All right, so this went 5 minutes. Now, I was thinking about some questions. I always think about the questions that are gonna be asked after I do the video. And I know somebody's gonna ask, why don't I put this tray on the bottom and do a double layer? You absolutely can do that. I just found, honestly, that it was quicker and easier for me to do one at a time. And that's because when you have both trays in, you really need to be flipping them around because you're not getting as much even heat. So I just like to do it in the basket, and it takes no time at all. So that's how I do it, but you certainly can do 2 layers. Just flip them a little bit more frequently, okay? All right, so the second batch I did put on for 3 minutes still, because that's the time that's worked for everything else. And also, since we had just did another batch of them, I thought, well, maybe the oven's a little bit hotter, so maybe we won't need to go the whole 5 minutes. And it looks like, though, that I think that one looks good. I'm just checking them all. Yeah, they look like they're good. Yep. All right, so good. So 5 minutes the first batch, 3 minutes the second batch. Now we get to fill them, roll them, bake them, and then eat them. Okay, so you can use all kinds of different fillings for your enchiladas. You could use whatever you want. You could do just a bean enchilada, a bean and cheese enchilada. You could do, shredded beef. You could do ground beef. Whatever you want in your enchiladas is perfectly fine. What I'm going to do today is a Mexican shredded chicken. This chicken I made in the Ninja Foodi pressure cooker. You can make it in any pressure cooker or even on the stove. It is so delicious and so easy. And I do have the recipe out, so I will link to that right up there for you guys. That's what I'm going to use as my filling. So now I'm just going to gather up all of these warm corn tortillas and start to roll and place them on my tray. Now I'm using this tray. I'm not doing this as a casserole. It's not gonna be deep or anything like that. I'm just simply gonna roll and set 2, 4, 6, and then finish the other ones. We're gonna have 6 servings. So each serving's gonna have 2 of these enchiladas. You wanna put about 2 to 3 tablespoons of your shredded chicken in the enchilada. Now you could also put cheese in here. I mean, you could do a combination. It would be delicious. Just make sure that all your filling does not exceed 2 to 3 tablespoons, or you are gonna just crack your enchilada. It's not gonna stay together. It'll still be delicious though. So I'm just gonna do these so simply. So once you have the filling in, just roll them up. You see how they did not break? That is because we heated them first. All right, they're looking so good. I know they kind of look a little puny on the tray, but trust me, when we're all done, they look just like what you get at a Mexican restaurant. All right. And also, if you have some liquid in your meat mixture that you're using or whatever mixture, you don't want to get that in the corn tortillas because that's just going to soften them and have them kind of fall apart a little bit. So just sort of drain it out. Some gets in and that's fine, but I just use tongs and drain it out. All right, there we go. So I've rolled up all the enchiladas. They were super easy. None of them cracked. I am so happy about this technique because trust me, I've tried many different ways and it has never worked out as easily as this one. All right, so now we are gonna get ready to put our enchilada sauce on top and then we will get it baking in the oven. Now again, like I said, I'm keeping this very, very, very simple. You can switch it up any way you want. You can put some onions in there. I mean, there's just so many ways. Now, this enchilada sauce, you notice, is not in the can, and that's because I made it myself. You can use the canned kind, you can use your favorite enchilada sauce, or you can make your own. And I do have a delicious recipe for a super easy enchilada sauce that I will link to right up there, okay? All right, so I'm gonna put about 1/3 of a cup of sauce over each pair of enchiladas. You just kind of want the tops covered so they don't dry out, because enchiladas are not like crunchy. They're softer, but I don't like them too mushy, and that's why I always toast them up too before I roll them. The enchilada sauce recipe that I have makes enough for one batch of these chicken enchiladas. And the Mexican shredded chicken makes enough for about maybe 1.5 batches. So you do have a little leftover chicken if you make that to make these enchiladas. All right, perfect. Now we're just gonna get it back into the oven and we are gonna bake at 325 degrees for 20 minutes. No cheese goes on yet, okay? Because we don't want that to get too brown or too like crisp or crunchy. So just the enchiladas with the sauce goes in. There we go. Now, in one of my Facebook groups, somebody suggested to do this, and I don't know how it works. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to try it now. Sometimes, I don't think this is going to splatter too much or anything, but she says she uses this rack upside down when she uses the tray just to sort of help prevent any splatter. I mean, obviously, some would still get up through these little holes, but it's just sort of like a little splatter screen. And I thought that was really cool. So let's give that a try and see what happens. And so now let's turn the Ninja Foodi oven back on. Remember, it goes back to what we set before. So we need to turn the dial to the bake, and then it defaults to whatever we baked before. And guess what I baked before? The enchiladas. So we're all preset on what I need the Ninja Foodi oven to be set at, and I just have to hit the little button to start it up. It will do its little preheat, then it will start the countdown from 20 minutes. Once that's done, I'll pull it out, we'll sprinkle some cheese on top, and then we broil that cheese, and then we eat our enchiladas. All right, so we're finishing up the 20-minute bake at 325, and I did check on them several times just to make sure that the enchilada sauce wasn't browning or burning or anything like that. So I always encourage you to check on your food and make adjustments as you go. You can decrease the heat a little bit if you find it's getting too done. You can back off the time a little bit, but remember, the temperature of your filling really makes a difference. If you're starting with cold filling, you really want to go the full 20 minutes. If you're starting with a warm filling, then you could decrease the time for sure. All right, now let's get this pulled out. I'm gonna get this all the way out here so we can get every single one doused with a little bit of cheese. So I use about 1/4 cup of cheese on each pair of enchiladas. You can use less, you can use more. You can omit the cheese, no problems there. You can even add more sauce. Now, I don't like mine super saucy, but you could certainly, after you bake them for this 20 minutes, if you wanted to douse them a little bit with some more enchilada sauce, because you like them a lot saucier, that would be fine. There are no rules really in cooking. You make it taste the way you love it. All right, here we go. Now we're gonna put those back in and we're gonna switch to the broil function, and I'm gonna go 3 minutes and check on it at 2. All right, so now we're gonna set this to the air broil function. It defaults to 10 minutes and high. We are going to keep it at high, but we're gonna take the time down. But I just wanted to point out this feature. If you want to go to low broil, you just hit the temp and turn the dial, but we're gonna stick with high. I am gonna hit the time and I'm gonna take that down to 3 minutes. And hit the start button. All right, so it will start to broil. And you know what I want to do real quick? I'm going to pop this out now. I'm not sure if it did anything to prevent any splatters, but it is a really cool idea. So I want to thank Carol for sharing this cool tip with us. Carol is a member of our Facebook group, Ninja Foodi Digital Air Fry Oven Tips and Recipes. And I love reading through all the comments and reading through all the posts, and I get some of the greatest tips. And of course, then I will share them with you guys as well. So thanks, Carol, so much. Oh my goodness, look at that. Okay, so remember I said I was gonna broil it for 3 minutes and check on it at 2? Well, I was running my mouth and I didn't. So I went 2.5 minutes, and guess what, guys? These are perfect. These are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that. They look amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. All right, let's see which ones. I'm gonna go ahead and take these two. How perfect. Now, my husband, Jeff, is a huge, huge lover of enchiladas. I mean, like he could eat them at least twice a week, but I never have been. Number one, I always struggled with the corn tortillas. So, hey, we fixed that, right? Now we know how to do that. So now they're pretty easy to roll. In fact, they're very easy to roll. And I never liked enchilada sauce because we always bought it in a can and it was tinny. And I just didn't like that. Now I've come up with a recipe for the enchilada sauce, so we love that. And it's super easy to do. It's not a casserole, which I prefer it to be this way and not like all together in a casserole. And I feel like I'm out at a Mexican restaurant. So I just absolutely love this. Now, ordinarily, I would probably top mine with chopped onions, some lettuce, some tomato, or some fresh salsa or something like that. But I'm gonna keep it super simple today. And I'm just gonna top it with a little bit of Cholula because I do like that spice, and nothing about this whole entire recipe with the shredded chicken and the enchilada sauce, nothing is spicy. I made it all just completely mild and kid friendly, so your kids are going to love it. But if you want a little extra spice, add on your favorite hot sauce. Mine is Cholula. So I'm just gonna add that on the top here. Ooh, it looks so good. And then I am a cilantro fanatic, and I put it on everything really. I'm just gonna sprinkle that over a little bit. All right, now let's get to tasting. Now, what should happen, obviously, is it should cut with a fork, and it does, but we're not mushy here, which is really good news. So our corn tortilla is not mushy. That's wonderful. All right, here we go. It's hot, steaming hot. So good. I mean, the flavor of the corn tortilla comes through so nicely. But again, it's not mushy, but it's soft. I mean, they're not crunchy. They're not supposed to be. The enchilada sauce is fantastic. The shredded chicken inside is delicious. Everything has tons of flavor. That hot sauce is wonderful. I am so incredibly pleased with this recipe, and I hope you guys love it. Again, put whatever filling you want, put whatever toppings you want, make it yours, and make it delicious.